Hi guys, and welcome to our review of Santa Monica. I'm Amy and this is my soon-to-be bride, Maggie. Actually highly topical for today's game.
Yes.
Today's game is set in sunny California, and sunny California is where we were meant to be a month ago getting married.
Yes.
It didn't happen, of course. Lots of other things going on in the world, but you know,
2020?
after being engaged for a number of years, we've been together for almost 10 years, we couldn't have picked a worse year.
Yeah.
Like, we really nailed it in terms of picking the wrong year to get married.
Felt like it had a ring to it, but how were we to know that it was going to have a ring to it for the wrong reasons?
Anyway, silver lining is that instead of being in sunny California, getting a tan, hanging out in a pool, we were here in Melbourne in the cold, playing lots of board games. So let's talk about Santa Monica.
Yes, so Santa Monica is a game by AEG designed by Josh Wood. And in Santa Monica, you're essentially putting together the most beautiful or the best boardwalk with a combination of shops and tourist attractions, places that the locals like to hang out in. And you've also got the foodie and food trucks, and all of those things will play a part. You're also going to be looking at the beach side of it. So having the combination of beaches that people can swim in versus beach areas where there's going to be activities like volleyball or whatever it is. And obviously all of the combinations of that are going to give you different points. But let's talk about the actual mechanics.
Well, this gameplay is fairly straightforward. I think there's some, in terms of teaching someone new, there's a bit of iconography that, particularly in relation to the objectives, that can be a little bit hard to wrap your head around. But I think that, the cuteness of the game really helps. The meeples, you can clearly see there's a tourist who has a little camera around his neck. There's a cool Californian local with his sunglasses on. And then you've got VIPs which travel around your boardwalk to achieve different objectives that were set from the beginning, to visit particular types of venues that is set by your starting board, which is different for each person. But in this game, you are drafting from a set of public cards where there are 2 rows of 4. You can only, except for under certain conditions, you can only really take from the first row of 4, but the second row shows you the upcoming cards and how they're going to slide forward and be available for the next person to take, or when it comes back around to your turn if they're still available. It's fairly simple gameplay. You are drafting a card and then you're placing it on your boardwalk, either at the lower level, which is where all the shops and things are, or at the top level where the beach is and there's activities. And then according to the cards, you will also receive a different number of meeples on some of the cards. So you might attract like 3 different tourists when you place a card on your boardwalk. And then you're trying to move these meeples around your boardwalk in order to, by the end of the game, have them locked up in an activity circle or have them somewhere where they're going to score points and not detract away from your score at the end. At the beginning of the game, there's a little bit of variable setup for the game to introduce, different objectives for each game. You have 3 major scoring conditions, which will change per game. You also have 2, pay for benefit spaces. So the money, the currency in this game are sand dollars, and those sand dollars can be exchanged for an ability to take more cards or to move more people. So it kind of helps you, achieve more in less time.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt about this game, but for me, it was an interesting balance of probably trying to get my head around what I was trying to do and then not really enjoying what I had to do. Like, it felt almost complex but too simple.
Yeah.
And I think the issue that I had with this game was at a 2-player count, and we've only played it 2 people, being COVID situation, being in lockdown.
Thanks 2020. Yes.
But at 2 players, there just, to me, wasn't enough tension. I felt like I was trying to achieve certain objectives, but if you took the card that I wanted, it wasn't so much of a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd just take another card or wait for it to come up. And I really didn't ever feel like anxious about what I was doing. I think it's also quite hard to plan ahead. So you have objectives at the beginning, but then it kind of comes down to what cards come out, and you're just trying to make the best of what's there. But the puzzle to me wasn't super exciting.
It's not super thrilling.
No,
yeah.
Which is disappointing because the production quality, again, from a great game from AEG in terms of production quality, that artwork.
It's
so
beautiful.
Jeremy Nguyen, amazing art. Like this is something that I would want to have on my wall. It's like it's super fun. It really gives you that feeling of like being on the boardwalk.
Yes, I do, and I love California specifically. Like I love Santa Monica Boulevard and like that whole beach area, and this did bring back some of that feeling. So I think from a theme point of view, the artwork is beautiful, the actual components are beautiful. I really actually enjoyed kind of playing with them. But overall, the overall gameplay, or the almost like, you know, how stimulated you felt or how excited you felt along the way, felt a little bit kind of clunky, and then on multiple plays it just kind of felt repetitive. It didn't actually feel like
even with the different starting conditions, it just kind of felt like you were doing the same thing over and over, and and at the end just telling the score, it didn't come together for me. And it's just strange because, you know, the meeples and everything, they are quite integrated with the theme, and I do love that you're building out the boardwalk. That is beautiful. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that there's a situation or an occasion for this game where I would grab this game over something else, because it's too light for most of our heavy gamer groups. And it doesn't really have multiple layers. So, you know, another review we did recently was Calico, where you, even if you're a hardcore gamer, you can focus on getting complete optimization, which is really hard to do. Whereas with this, it's almost like just making the best of the situation. You can't really do anything super amazing. There's no puzzle to solve. And for that reason, I just can't imagine who I would teach this to, even if it was like our group of friends who want to be gamers and like really want to get more involved with our gaming. Even that, I just don't think I would use this as a gateway game, because it doesn't, to me, have enough excitement to like then want them to come back and play more games. And that's ultimately what we want to do, is like convert everybody to our hobbies. Convert all of our friends to our hobbies.
Pretty much.
And
so I felt like, for example, like you have the little puzzles of, there's, you know, you get points for having, you know, sequences of a particular, for example, it might be businesses, or it might be swimmable beaches, or it might be tourist hotspots and things like that.
So it's set collection.
So from a theme point of view, it's actually like the theme. I love the theme. It's relatively well integrated, but the individual puzzles are not super compelling. A lot of it is kind of down to luck of, you know, what cards are going to come up or not. Even then, there's not a huge tension in, oh, someone's going to take the card that I want. It's kind of like, well, there's probably going to be something else that will come. But I found like the individual puzzles aren't that exciting. And then the overall puzzle of like, well, how many points did I get, you know, overall? Again, it wasn't as thrilling as I wanted it to be.
Also found that the set collection wasn't that difficult. Like, it was rare that we weren't achieving everything from every card that we put down. And to me, that just comes back to that like lack of tension again, and the fact that, you know, you could probably change your strategy on the fly and do equally well, which to me doesn't reward a lot of forward thinking, and that's the kind of thing that we really like in games. So I don't know, I'm on the fence about keeping this in our collection, because it's like, I love the art so much. Like, it's really great to see something that isn't space themed. No offense to anybody, but like, I've just had enough of like space theme and fantasy themes,
or like,
so it's like like kudos to the designer for coming up with something really fresh. It's just the gameplay for us is probably going to mean that unfortunately it won't stay in our collection, because it just won't get to the table.
I feel like I'm so attached to the artwork and to the theme overall that I don't want to get rid of it, but I don't necessarily want it in my collection. So it's probably the kind of game that I'll be like, hey, do you want to borrow it? Then just like be happy that I technically still own it, but I'm never actually
it's somewhere else
to be, you know, bringing it out and playing it, unless I'm with someone who just like, again, loves the theme. because it is like a breath of fresh air.
I also think that if you're the kind of gamer who doesn't like tension in your game and kind of wants a more peaceful experience with beautiful art, then 100% this game is going to satisfy that need. Just for us, it's not quite right. And, you know, if you have thoughts on that, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you're interested to hear our thoughts about other games, please subscribe to our channel and you'll get notifications when we upload our next video. But otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in and we'll see you soon.
See you next time.
Bye. I really wish you wouldn't do that. Hi guys, and welcome to Think a Thema. I'm Amy and this is my soon-to-be ex-girlfriend, Maggie.
What a way to let me know.
Keep clapping and you'll soon be clapping out to us.
Make sure when we finish and you say the bye, stay there for a bit, because then that gives me enough That was good. I thought that was good. That's too long.